What's up everyone, it's Bruce Waha. Hope y'all are having a good day. On today's episode of Wingman Wednesday, we're going to be talking about joining the military at a later age. Now a lot of people may have questions regarding joining such a high-speed life like the military as a more seasoned individual. I'm just going to be sharing my experience going through it all and some of the challenges you may experience as well. But before we get started, if you like what we're doing here at Wild at Heart, be sure to like and subscribe and share this video with a fellow wingman. Alright, let's get into it. So you're wondering what life may be like joining later in the game than your fellow wingmen. Now, while you may have some advantages given that you have more life experience, it doesn't mean that your experience will differ greatly from your fellow wingmen. Well, to start, I was born and raised in Texas. I went to Angelo State University and got my bachelor's in fine art from there. That's in San Angelo, Texas, and that's also linked with Goodfellow Air Force Base. So if you've actually been to Goodfellow, you know where this place is at. Now, unfortunately, the Air Force does view my degree as a non-technical degree. Thus, I was not able to commission straight out of college. Now, I did work my way through college as a bartender, a server, and a bar manager. And when I finally graduated, I actually went and talked to my recruiter at age 26. I was actually really bored with the civilian life that I had at that point. Always wanted to join the military, so at that point, I started taking steps and seeing what my options were. Now, joining at 26, which was at the time the cutoff for the enlisted military, I didn't really have a whole lot of opportunities to delay that process. Now, if you do have the opportunity to delay that process to get a specific job you want, or perhaps commission, I recommend doing so. Fortunately for me, I was very eager and had a very specific mindset on the job that I wanted, which was TAC-P, or Tactical Air Control Party. Now, I did go through a vigorous study process for the ASVAB. I wanted to make sure that not only did I meet the requirements to make that TAC-P career field, but I wanted to give myself every opportunity available in case that didn't work out. Now, unfortunately, during tech school, I actually was medically eliminated from the course, but was allowed to reclass. Now, that's not an opportunity given to all people, so I was actually very grateful that I have the cadre go ahead and vouch for me, saying this guy should stay in the Air Force. And thus, I was reclassed into the 4A career field. Now, BMT was actually easier than I thought it was going to be, but the bulk of my stress was centered around the specific job title that I had within the dorm. Now, if you are older and a little bit more mature, the MTIs will actually seek you out and put you into these positions specifically, such as element leader or dorm chief. Now, strong personalities, being able to project your voice, having confidence, and strong will are attributes the MTI will look for to make sure that you can keep the flight and everything in order. And dorm chief was a position that I was put in, so that was actually where the bulk of my stress lay. I was dorm chief from day one to the day that we graduated. And I was responsible for all 40 plus trainees, ensuring that they have a smooth and as easy as possible transition to become airmen. Now, once you're in, you'll actually hear a lot of people that with rank refer to themselves in the third person. This is a very common thing. This is the whole Mr. versus NCO, or Mr. versus Airman, or Mr. versus Lieutenant. The thinking behind this actually shows perspective and hopefully progression in your career and in your mentality and the way that you go about things. It lets your peers know that you know where they're coming from, or at least have an idea and can be a little bit more relatable with. Now, coming in later in the game, you have a lot more of life experience. It gives you a unique perspective on all the things that you now have being in the military that you didn't have as a civilian. So hopefully you have enough life experience to be able to identify oncoming drama and be able to avoid it. And speaking financially, hopefully you've reached an age where you won't be suckered by the local car dealership or that 21% APR credit card. Life at this point hopefully has taught you ways that you can make that dollar stretch out as much as possible. So hopefully you've been able to progress on developing your work ethic. Now, this will drastically allow you to stay motivated and complete processes and tasks that you set your mind to, even more so than your counterparts. Now, that'll also allow your unit and your leadership to consider you more for specific opportunities and awards as well. Now, a common challenge for older airmen is transitioning back to a starting process. being on the bottom of the totem pole again, having leaders that are younger than you, and being able to hold your tongue. Because in the military world, you drastically lack experience compared to, say, an NCO that is younger than you but has more years in. Now that for me was a bit of a challenge, and I did go through my rough and tumbles developing that and learning how to control my tongue, my face, and a variety of other things. So one thing to work on would definitely be that specifically. But in the end, I feel that coming in later actually helps you develop a better mindset to start off in the military, and I believe that you'll probably be a lot more better off than your peers. Now, as an Air Force medic, you're placed in probably the most ideal operational position in the military. Your facilities are usually state-of-the-art or brand new. You have year-round air conditioning and heating, and it's really hard to identify a place that you would be better off starting. However, being in the medical field can also be a focal point for some high school hijinks that you may encounter. If you thought you were getting away from high school by joining the military, not so much. You may experience the same kind of trauma and personalities that you thought you left behind. They're at your unit. So like I said, having a more mature perspective, being able to hold your tongue, being able to avoid drama helps you tremendously in the medical field. Now the great thing about being a 4A and this career field is that it allows you for a high rotation. So you may move from one clinic to another, one flight to another. So it's a little bit easier for you to avoid the drama. Now, if you haven't already taken some education courses in the military, the Air Force specifically is very education focused. So there's a good chance that by the time you're done with your first term, you'll have an associate's degree. I recommend being able to CLEP and take as many classes as possible during that first term, because you'll actually have fewer responsibilities and more opportunity to improve and get ahead in your educational process. And if you happen to join with a non-technical degree, much like I did, go ahead and visit the education center, see what credits you can have transfer over. That way you can obtain that CCAF ahead of time and you'll be able to skate through that whole process and begin your upper education. However, one thing to keep in mind is that the Air Force won't pay for a lateral degree. So if you have a bachelor's degree and are looking for another bachelor's, you'll have to use your GI Bill for that. The Air Force is very developmental focused. So that means that if you have a bachelor's, you need to start looking at a master's degree. And they'll actually help you with that process. But anything outside of that that isn't progressing up, you'll have to use your own GI Bill for that. Now at this point, if you're considering joining the military at a later age, you have multiple options and you've actually researched every individual option that you have, whether it be furthering your education by going to do a bachelor's degree or master's degree or whatever. Maybe you're in a bad situation or a bad life chapter that you just need a quick exit. Whatever your reason is, I can assure you that the military is a great option to go. It offers you the most secure transitioning to a new chapter in your life. Because the military will change you. Whether or not it changes you for the better or for the worse is really up to you and what you're able to commit to it. Either way, my opinion is if you're choosing the military to change your life, you're taking a great first step to do so. There's so many opportunities that will be made available for you once you get in. It's just a matter of remaining focused on the things that you join the military for and the direction that you want to take. Well guys, I hope you found that information beneficial. Thanks for stopping by Wingman Wednesdays. If you have any additional tips that you want to give to people considering joining the military a little bit later in age, be sure to leave that down in the comments below. As always, this is Bruce Uwaha asking you, hey, where's your wingman? Y'all take it easy.